Did you know? Shrek is actually based on a children's book written by William Steig simply titled Shrek. The book follows Shrek on a daily walk. We see him breathe fire, conquer a dragon, and get married. With the exception of a few characters, the book hardly bears any resemblance to the movie adaptation. The first Shrek film, however, had a very long, interesting development. Steven Spielberg discovered the book in 1991 and bought the rights to it. Spielberg intended on turning it into a traditionally animated film with his company, Amblimation, who had also produced Balto and An American Tail, Fievel Goes West. He had envisioned Bill Murray in the role as Shrek, with Steve Martin as Donkey. But this version of the film never came to fruition. The final version of the film only exists because of a falling out at Disney. In 1984, Michael Eisner became the CEO of the Walt Disney Company and named Jeffrey Katzenberg as the head of the motion picture division. He then led the Disney Renaissance, which sparked a revival in the quality of animation and storytelling in the Disney films of the time. Katzenberg turned the studio around with such hits as Who Framed Roger Rabbit, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and The Lion King. However, things took a tragic turn in 1994 when Frank Wells, Eisner's second-in-command and president of Disney, was killed in a helicopter crash. Katzenberg felt that he should be the one to replace Wells, but Eisner refused to promote him. This led to an altercation between the two that resulted in Katzenberg leaving Disney on bad terms. Shortly thereafter, Katzenberg founded DreamWorks Studios with Steven Spielberg and David Geffen, with Katzenberg leading the animation department. In 1995, the children's book Shrek was brought forth to DreamWorks, where it caught Katzenberg's eye. DreamWorks acquired the rights, presumably from Steven Spielberg, and then put the film into production. The animosity between Eisner and Katzenberg supposedly led to the creation of Lord Farquaad, who bears a striking physical resemblance to the Disney executive. Farquaad lives in a squeaky clean theme park that parallels Walt Disney's Magic Kingdom. He also made his business by kidnapping, relocating, and/or selling off famous fairy tale characters, not unlike the Mouse House. Eisner is a tall man at 6'3", and Katzenberg stands at 5'4". Eisner once distastefully commented on Katzenberg, "I think I hate that little midget." This may be why Farquaad is so short, almost like a sort of revenge against Katzenberg's former boss. The name Farquaad is also thought to be a clever solution for getting away with saying f***wad in a children's film. Likely because of this falling out, Radio Disney was prohibited from allowing ads for Shrek to be aired on the station. The station said, "Due to recent initiatives with the Walt Disney Company, we are being asked not to align ourselves promotionally with the new release Shrek." Later on, this restriction was loosened to allow ads for the film soundtrack. The DreamWorks version of Shrek was originally planned to be a hybrid live-action and CG animation film using background plate miniature sets with all of the main characters composited into the scene. Despite having a large crew hired to run tests with a year of research and development, the test screen had a terribly negative reception. Katzenberg stated, "It looked terrible, it didn't work, it wasn't funny, and we didn't like it." Moving forward, DreamWorks bought up animation company PDI, who assisted in developing Shrek's visuals to their final form. They had previously worked with DreamWorks on Ants, and carried over their proprietary software and techniques into the new film. However, for some of the more intensive scenes, such as animating dynamic cloth and human hair, PDI used the 3D animation software Maya. With 36 separate in-film locations, DreamWorks boasted that Shrek had a larger world than any computer-animated film before it. Chris Farley was originally going to play the titular character of Shrek. He had recorded between 80 to 90% of his lines for the character before he passed away due to a drug overdose. DreamWorks recast Mike Myers in the role, who insisted on a full rewrite so no traces of Farley were left in the movie. He wanted it to be wholly his character. Myers tried several accents for the role, including Southern and Canadian accents, before finally settling on a Midwestern accent.
"Hey, I'm no one's messenger boy, okay? I'm a delivery boy."
However, after recording all of his lines and well into the film's production, Myers requested to re-record the lines in a Scottish accent, similar to the voice his mother used when she read him bedtime stories. After hearing this alternate voiceover, Katzenberg agreed to put it in the movie. He was quoted as saying, "It was so good we took $4 million worth of animation out and did it again." Myers received a letter from Steven Spielberg thanking him for caring so much about the character, and that the Scottish accent had improved the movie.
"Hey, I'm no one's messenger boy, all right? I'm a delivery boy."
Janine Garofalo was originally planned to play the role as Princess Fiona alongside Chris Farley. She was let go from the project for unspecified reasons and was quoted years later saying, "I was never told why I was fired. I assume because I sound like a man sometimes. I don't know why. Nobody told me. But, you know, the movie didn't do anything, so who cares?" When approached for the role in Shrek 2, the casting director told actor Antonio Banderas that the character Puss in Boots was envisioned as French. However, due to Banderas' accent, Puss's character took on another form, similar to that of Zorro. Zorro, another character Banderas incidentally played. This is referenced in the film when Puss uses his musketeer sword to scratch a P in Shrek 2. Also, because Antonio Banderas is multilingual, he provided the voiceover for the English, Spanish, and Italian versions of the film. The inclusion of I'm a Believer covered by Smash Mouth came out of a suggestion by Katzenberg to redo Shrek's ending. The song was chosen because of the opening line, I thought love was only true in fairy tales, which the film's producers thought matched the theme of the story. Rufus Wainwright's cover of Hallelujah appears on the film's soundtrack album but not actually in the film. Instead, Welsh singer John Cale's version is what is heard during the movie. Wainwright suggests that his version didn't make it into the movie due to a glass ceiling he was hitting due to his sexuality. However, an alternative explanation states that because Wainwright was a studio artist for DreamWorks and John Cale wasn't, licensing issues prohibited it from being listed on the soundtrack. A Shrek musical went into production in 2002, but didn't see the light of day until 2008 with its Broadway premiere. Despite the soundtrack of the films being a mix of oldies and modern pop, the musical went for a mostly original score minus the inclusion of I'm a Believer at the end. The stage production received a mixed reception, but was still nominated for 8 Tonys, including Best Musical and Best Original Score. They only managed to run off with Best Costume Design, however. A brief preview ran in Seattle for auditions before the Broadway premiere in 2008. The musical ran until 2010 in the US, but a European production still runs to this day. Lastly, it's rumoured that Shrek himself was modelled after the French wrestler Maurice Tillet, also known as the French Angel. As a child, Tillet had actually earned the nickname the Angel due to his good supposed angelic face. However, at the age of 17, Tillet was diagnosed with acromegaly, which is a condition that causes bone overgrowth and thickening. Despite a striking resemblance to Shrek, DreamWorks has never openly commented on this. I'm afraid that's all for today, but please subscribe for more facts and trivia. We'd also like you to vote on what film or show you want to see more on, Toy Story or Steven Universe. Click on the annotations or comment below to vote. And if you want to see more of what I do on my channel, then you can always check out my worst video game ever review. Yes, no, I'm not. That title is not just to get you to click on the video. No, it's genuinely the worst thing ever. It's the worst thing ever. It is.